artist, a value that I hold dear is truth, is the pursuit of truth, both looking inward and also of the world around me. And we have been denied that truth because we're hanging on to this identity that is whiteness. And that identity clouds our ability to see the full spectrum of the human experience. It's actually bad for us now. It is way worse for people of color, way worse. There's no world in which I or my daughter are killed by police for our color of our skin or whatever sort of concept is thrust upon us. Whiteness does not get you killed. It just doesn't. And in fact, with respect to healthcare, with respect to justice system, with respect to education, with respect to housing, all the numbers suggest that my whiteness is baked in to my success in any of those ways. So I have to deal with the fact that
one can benefit from whiteness even without being racist, because whiteness is like a system. Now, in society, whiteness is a dominant racial identity, and a lot of white people or even brown people in a black community, they're benefiting from whiteness. And it only takes bold people or bold white people to speak about the whiteness and the privilege that they are getting from it. And benefiting from whiteness does not mean a person is personally responsible for racial injustice, but it does mean they may experience unearned advantages. For example, if you are going to look for job opportunities, there's a privilege a white person or a brown person will get from this advantage that comes with it. And by you recognizing that you are benefiting or you are getting an earned advantage from your whiteness, by recognizing that is a step to get justice for the black fraternity. Because you cannot be enjoying just saying, oh, because I'm white, I'm enjoying this. I know you ain't racist, but you are happy enjoying something that you have not earned simply because you are just white. Now, I've got the opportunity to come across a video of a white guy talking about whiteness, discussing about whiteness. And this video, he is directing it to the white fraternity, or the people of his race. It's a good video because if you see a one white person getting salvation, it's amazing. You understand when I say getting salvation. So I want you to watch it and tell me what you think of the comment section at the end of the video. Of course, welcome to my YouTube space, and I love you so much.
First and foremost, sending love to the people of color in our community, in particular African Americans. This affects you so much more directly, so much more personally than the rest of us. I'm going to talk about whiteness today, and as much as you all, people of color, are experts at whiteness, because you've been dealing with it your entire lives, you may want to sit this one out. This is probably more a conversation between white people so we can come to some sort of understanding and see whiteness as a concept. So if you're a person of color, I hope you have a nice day. Okay, so I'm going to try to stay in my lane here as it relates to the industry, but I think it does require a little bit of history so we can talk about this thing. So whiteness, race generally, social construct, W.E.B. Du Bois says it's 18th, 19th century construct. Colonial powers want to prevent indentured servants and enslaved people from colluding. So you've got a Scotsman and a Dutchman and an African indentured servant, and they all escape from their servitude, and the colonial powers say, all right, so to the Scot and the Dutchman, we're gonna give you 4 years more servitude than before as punishment, but the African will give you perpetual servitude. They're trying to divide those folks so that they don't collude, put their heads together and their power together and overthrow the colonial power. So it's an arbitrary distinction. We know this because at a certain point Italians were not considered white, but then all of a sudden they are. It's about power structures. It's fluid. Moreover, in terms of but it's biological argument, we have people whose skin is lighter, but we call them African American or black than people white. There's no feature that is true of every single group and not the other. Again, because this is a social political construct. Now, while it was made up, it's still very, very real and affects people in very particular ways, including horrific police brutality and social and physical violence. So it's cooked in to our identities is the trick of it. We're almost meant as white people not to see whiteness as an identity. So all of our heroes, the founding fathers, George Washington enslaved 317 people, 148 children of those 317. But he's our hero, so like whiteness is everywhere we look, but we're not calling it whiteness. So when all your heroes, everywhere you look, me growing up, whether it's Ferris Bueller or Luke Skywalker or Indiana Jones or, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if they all have this one quality, among others, but this one quality, and it's about skin color really consistently, then all of a sudden the beauty standards start getting whiteness cooked into them also. All of these notions start turning into this hiding of whiteness. Whiteness even becomes American. So, cut to about 20-something years ago, I'm pursuing an acting career, and I come from Canada to the United States right away. I'm not even a citizen yet. I have a green card, but I'm not a citizen or a work permit at that point. I am auditioning almost solely as a 20-year-old or whatever for parts that describe the character as all American. Why? Well, because whiteness is baked into what that means. It's not about where you come from. Maybe it means European. We can start getting surgical about the actual identity or what it actually means. But ultimately, I'm considered American. My image is considered American because of whatever image standards have been cooked into this system. Well, that same year, the first time I came to Los Angeles, and this is part of the lore of, that I pat myself on the back for, I booked a TV series, 22 episodes on the air within 4 months, and I struggled for it. I didn't have any money in the bank. Poverty's relative, but at the same time, could have gotten a job, but I decided to pursue this thing. So I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm living at the Sunset Palms Motel. It's $28 a night, which is why I was living there. I was cycling to auditions, from Hollywood to Burbank. I would cycle over the course of, 2 or 3 hours it would take to get there. And I booked one, and I booked a TV show. And I thought about that a lot and how great that was. It's this hero story. And then in 2017, the diversity study came out, the UCLA diversity study, that suggested even in 2016-17 season that well over half, like something like 64% of all the roles went to people like me, straight, cisgendered, able-bodied white men. And I think then about that glorious moment when I booked a TV show in whenever it was, 2000 or 99 or something, and how I pat myself in the back for that. And that same season, I imagine there was an African-American woman who booked a TV show too. Now, I don't know what the numbers were then in terms of diversity, whatever you want to call it. But if in 2016-17 it was 64%, well over half that went to me, I can't imagine the odds that black woman had to overcome to book a TV show, like almost insurmountable, because there were not roles available to her. So this isn't then to beat myself up or to undermine my work. I worked hard, still work hard. But particularly as an artist, a value that I hold dear is truth, is the pursuit of truth, both looking inward and also of the world around me. And we have been denied that truth because we're hanging on to this identity that is whiteness. And that identity clouds our ability to see the full spectrum of the human experience. It's actually bad for us now. It is way worse for people of color, way worse. There's no world in which I or my daughter are killed by police for our color of our skin or whatever sort of concept is thrust upon us. Whiteness does not get you killed. It just doesn't. And in fact, with respect to healthcare, with respect to justice system, with respect to education, with respect to housing, all the numbers suggest that my whiteness is baked in to my success in any of those ways. So I have to deal with the fact that I likely had an acting career for 15 years, in part because of my whiteness. I own a home, in part because of my whiteness. And when you look at that, again, this is not meant to get you in some sort of shame spiral and make you defensive so that you shut down and make it all about you and the guilt and the white guilt and all that sort of stuff. It's meant to say, let's look at what's happening. And the things that I have, what have been the cost? What has been the cost for other folks? And what sort of society are we living in? Again, this is an actor's job, an artist's job, to look around you, really see what's going on. Look inside you, really see what's going on. And find the truth outside of the societal identities that are thrust upon you. If I were to go on set, I haven't acted in a long time, but if I were to go on set, all of the numbers suggest that I will be surrounded by people who have a similar racial experience than me, similar cultural experience to me. They all will look like me, for the most part. Things are changing a little bit, but still, like well over half, right? When I sit in the makeup chair, the person putting on my makeup will look like me and will understand, because they have put makeup on themselves, and likely mostly people like me, they will understand my shading and how to make this work with the lights. The DP will likely be a person who looks like me, who will light skin like their own skin. The hair person will, there won't be a discussion about, how I should work with my hair. They'll know. There's some assumptions that they will make. And all of that creates a situation in which I don't have to think about that, and I don't have to think about it because of my whiteness. And the trick is that while this whiteness holds us back, because it creates these identities that contain us, that prevent us from seeing the full truth of both ourselves and other people, it also comes bearing gifts. And so all of a sudden, if I look at my whiteness and I say, wait a minute, I can leverage this thing to get my daughter into a good school, but you're telling me I shouldn't? Wait a minute. So here's what I think has to happen beyond the marching and the donating and the speaking up, which is so important. But I think real change, I know this from 25 years of martial arts training, that action that doesn't come from deep looking, action that doesn't come first from stillness, from deep awareness and a clear intention, will likely not be a powerful action. So when we look inside and meditate on this and write about this and really see ourselves, self in the Buddhist sense, whatever that means for you all, but outside of these identities that are given to us, these unearned privileges that are given to us by virtue of the color of our skin or whatever sort of feature you want to talk about, we will see a truer version of ourselves. To me, I think the work is separating whiteness from self, separating whiteness from America, separating whiteness from the justice system, separating these concepts, these mental structures, these mental forms that poison our experience. And it's hard because we get to a place of defense because, wait a minute, I worked hard for my house. You're telling me I should give up my house? No, but you should look around you as I do, and I don't see people of color in my neighborhood. Why? Well, redlining and the history of housing, particularly in the United States and Los Angeles, you can do all that work. And when you do, you have a clearer picture of yourself and the world around you. And from that place, then you start breaking down some of these boundaries, these identities that contain you, that prevent you from seeing yourself and other people with truth, which is what an artist needs to do. These identities cloud us. They get in the way. Whiteness requires an other. That's the purpose of it. That's why it was created in the first place. You are this, and you're not like that. And this othering of people who have so much in common with you, particularly, working folks who are trying to, feed their families and pay their mortgage. Once you start removing that otherness, then power structures fall. This is why Trump plays this, the race card, if you want to call it that. Look, there are people over the southern border, and they're coming, and they're going to take your jobs, and they're going to do this and that and the other, and their skin is brown, and all of a sudden you start othering people, playing on these identities, these egoic identities that require defense. And for an actor, for an artist, to be in that place of defense, it's the antithesis of vulnerability. It's the antithesis of I'm open, I'm going to allow myself to be affected, I'm going to look deeply, and no matter what I see, I will accept and address, even if it makes me feel shame, even if it makes me feel sad or embarrassed, or even if I have to look in and see that I am racist. Because, as Swante said, racism is not the shark, it's the water. That means that I am racist. It's in me. And that's not something that I'm going to beat myself up over because there's too much work to do. But I have to know that so I can then see the whiteness in me and see that I am not the whiteness, even though I benefit from it, and take action from that place of who I really am. And that's when shit starts changing. That's when it becomes more than Instagram posts. But when it comes to my daughter or my own health or my own housing, sorry, I'm going to look after me. That's not a recipe for change. And I think that's one of the reasons why in 400 years, over 400 years, in 1619, this stuff hasn't changed. Because we are unable to give up free labor, because we're unable to give up this pursuit of more and more and more and more, and there has to be an other, and I'm climbing the ladder, and I'm all of this whiteness gets cooked in to our very lives, the trajectory of our lives, what we want, what we don't. We have to see it. We have to look inside and see it, and see that whiteness is not us. At our truest form, it is not us. We're better than that. So I would encourage you to write about this. That's what artists do, You act it, you dance it, you explore it. I would encourage you to explore whiteness on your own and or with other white people, so as not to burden people of color with this who are busy and tired of these conversations and have been having these conversations, screaming these conversations for actual centuries. But this is work for us to do. Change happens from within. We must see our whiteness and move away from it. See that it actually hurts us. It holds us back. Thank you so much. I love you all. Please be gentle with yourselves. These are hard conversations to have, but they are necessary.
I'm always happy when I see white people coming out and speak about racism, whiteness, white privilege, their system, how they just speaking out, because that's a way of apologizing, because and understanding racism, understanding the white privilege in the community. That's one of the things that black people want. As an apology, you want white people to understand, speak about it, support reparation, etc., etc. White privilege in the community is it's there. And when you talk about whiteness, we talk about how white people benefit from them being just white. When you are being born white, there's benefit that comes with it. When you are walking in the street as a white person, there's benefit that comes with it. When you hear the word whiteness, it has different meaning. It's about racial and social concept. It's about culture and historical perspective. It's about psychological, because psychologically, whiteness plays a role. As I stated earlier, being white is an advantage. And someone to be racist, as a white person to be racist, he or she is taking advantage of the whiteness. A lot of white people out here are taking advantage of their whiteness. Yeah. For example, in a black community, we have brown people, like she's black but brown. We call it colorism. Even brown people are taking advantage of their brownness. It takes boldness for a white person to accept that he or she is benefiting from his whiteness. It takes only bold white people to come out and speak about it. and to give examples how he or she has benefited from being white. So for white people to come out here, it's a one way of accepting, understanding, and apologizing. And when you understand that you as a white person, there's a black person somewhere else is not benefiting from, he's having hard time being black in the society. He's having hard time getting services. He's having hard time in educational system, healthcare system, just because he or she's black. He's harassed by police. When a white person understands that, that is a one way of apologizing that black people want. Now, the guy have talked about whiteness and how he has benefited from whiteness, discussed with the white people about it. And I say, let me discuss something about it, because whiteness, one can benefit from whiteness even without being racist, because whiteness functions as a system of privilege, not just personal beliefs or actions. This means that in societies where whiteness is the dominant racial identity, individuals perceived as white can experience advantages than the one of black race. The privilege that white people get because of, or the privilege that people get because of the whiteness or being brown is like systematic and institutional privileges. White people enjoy economic opportunities more than black people. Individuals may have easier access to jobs, promotions, or loans due to biases of their color. Now, one day they were looking for people to do adverts, ladies and men to do adverts somewhere here in Kenya, and people went, but they end up choosing people who have brown skin, and it was evident because some were just saying it openly. You go and use some oil so that you can at least be brown. You are too dark to be the model. In schools, students who are brown, some of them getting advantages, even in the eyes of the teachers. Like a teacher can just tell a student, you are too dark, you are black, So whiteness can help one to get advantages, more so in economic advantages, opportunities, employment. You are going to look for jobs, black and brown people at the same time, and the black one are eliminated automatically. Opportunities is less in black people, but being white, you get some advantages. In America, whiteness help in housing and wealth. Now, historically, policies like redlining in the USA made it easier for white families to accumulate wealth through home ownership, while restricting black and other non-white families to get these wealth advantages. And that's why there is a wealth gap between white people and other races, and we call it a racial gap, or wealth racial gap between white people and black people. It's because of the whiteness. So whiteness play a very big role in the society. It doesn't matter you are white being American, because back then French people were not considered whites, Arabs weren't considered whites, Chinese. But right now, due to this systematic white privilege, now when you see a Chinese, Indian, French, they fall under white people. So they are getting advantage of whiteness because it is systematic. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the thing that have been here for long, disturbing or creating racism, inequalities, discrimination because of the whiteness system. Now, In education, school in white neighborhood tend to be better funded due to property tax system leading to better education. But schools in black neighborhoods does not get better treatment, same that in the white neighborhood. Another thing where whiteness play a bigger role is into legal and social treatment. For example, studies show that white individuals are less likely to be profiled, arrested, or fall under police brutality, and they are less sentenced harshly than black people. Studies show that it's because of the whiteness. In healthcare system or healthcare access and treatment, white people or whiteness can give you advantages. In everyday social privilege, whiteness can give you upper hand. I've just told you a story of being a brown in a black society. There's advantages you get, or being a black, there is disadvantages you get. So I think the media and the colonizers played a very, very huge role in making sure that each and every person that is white or brown in color is seen as a god. Whiteness has played part in religions. Whiteness has played part in discrimination. Whiteness has played part in Jim Crow law, in apartheid. Whiteness has played part even in African communities, Indian, we have black Indians and brown Indians or white Indians. It has played roles in choosing movie stars. Whiteness has played role in education and health system. So I'm happy to see white people jumping on this topic and accepting that they are getting a benefit from being white. And for these reasons, when you understand and accept, it's easier to find solutions so that we can end this bias. It's easier to get solution when we understand a thing. You cannot get solution of racism if you do not understand racism. Okay? You cannot get solution of whiteness if you do not understand which privilege comes along with your whiteness and how the other race is suffering because of the whiteness. So I love this. As far as we still have a lot of people taking advantage of other people because of their color, but some of them are learning and understanding. And that's why I love Gen Zs. Like sometimes I've seen Gen Zs, it doesn't matter whether it's black or white, they come together. You understand what I'm saying? People of older age, for example, white people of older age, they were so deep in the system, whiteness system. They enjoyed the white privilege, and it's hard for us, or it's hard for them to move out of this. But the Gen Zs are here. They benefiting from their parents enjoying white privilege. But it is fading. So the Gen Zs does not benefit directly from the white privilege because it is fading. Fading because of what? Why? It's either they have black friends, a lot of them. It's because they are learned now, the things they understand out here. And racism will die, will fade, if only we understand that. And for this white guy talking about whiteness, I think it's a good topic that a lot of white people need to jump onto it and share their views. So if you're watching this video, tell me, do you think will come a day where whiteness will be no problem? Because it is a problem. It is systematic. Even a lot of black people, some of them, they bleach themselves so that they can be white, they can be brown, because there is some privilege that comes with being brown. At job place, the boss wants you because you are brown. Teachers wants you because you are brown. Judgment is easy when you are dealing with a white and black person. Officially or automatically, black person is at fault. When you are walking in the street and someone snatch your phone, you look back, you see a white and a black person, automatically the black person becomes a suspect. And I wonder why they only think of black people as criminals. And we have, terror groups out here. A lot of them are not as black as we think. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't want to say it loud, but let us not be judged by our skin color. Let that whiteness not be something you take advantage of other people. As a black person, yes, I need an apology for the slavery. I need you as a white man or white person to stop slavery, racism. But even if as an individual you say you are not racist, but you are benefiting from whiteness. So up to the day you will speak about whiteness and understand it, that's where you'll be good to go. Okay? Now, tell me what you think on the comment section about this video. Of course, we'll meet in the next episode. And thank you so much for being here, being part of my family. Thank you so much for 50K plus subscribers, and keep on watching my videos. And if there's something you need to tell me, if I'm wrong on these videos, I welcome adjustments. Until next episode, peace out.